Ever stop to think about, the temperature in your home, that feeling of it being just right? Well, that comfort is part of this massive global industry, heating and cooling. It's honestly way bigger and more dynamic than you might guess. It really underpins so much of our daily lives, drives infrastructure, innovation. It's huge. For this deep dive, we're digging into a report from Cognitive Market Research, Global Heating and Cooling Market Trends and Forecasts. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is it goes way beyond just being comfortable, right? It's really this intersection of technology, sustainability, which is massive now, and, well, just our basic need for controlled indoor spaces.
Yeah.
Watching how this market changes, it really gives you a window into bigger things like energy use, how we build cities, even climate resilience.
Absolutely. And the numbers, they definitely tell a story. It looks like steady, pretty powerful growth. The projection is from about almost $249 million back in 2021, up to nearly $349.374 million to be exact by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 2.9%. So, okay, big numbers.
Yeah.
But what's really driving this? What are the core reasons for this kind of steady expansion?
Well, it really seems to be two main things, and they're kind of interconnected. First, there's just this growing global demand, plain and simple, for climate control. More people, more cities, more buildings, residential, commercial, you name it. They all need ways to manage temperature effectively. And second, and this is really important, is the huge pressure globally for systems that are energy efficient and, eco-friendly.
Right.
It's not just regulations pushing this, though they play a part. It's consumers, businesses, everyone wanting to cut energy costs, reduce their environmental impact. I mean, think about a heat wave hitting the power grid or all the talk about net zero buildings. It all comes back to needing smarter, greener ways to heat and cool places.
Yeah, that makes total sense, especially with everything happening around energy right now. Okay, so we've got this overall growth picture. Let's zoom in a bit. Where's the action, geographically speaking?
Right.
Who's leading the pack?
North America is definitely out front. And within North America, the U.S. is the big engine. Back in 2021, the U.S. market alone was, $85 million, roughly?
Right.
And that's projected to climb past $112 million by 2033.
Wow.
But it's not just the U.S. Other parts of North America are showing some interesting momentum, too. Mexico, for instance, they're looking at a pretty impressive TAIR, expected around 3.9%.
Okay, Mexico at 3.9%. What's behind that specifically? Is it just, more buildings popping up in a warm place, or is there more to it?
Well, the expanding urban infrastructure and the warmer climate are definitely big factors, yes. But there's also significant industrial growth, economic development happening. You've got surges in manufacturing, tourism. That means lots of new factories, hotels, facilities being built fast, all needing robust climate control. And you combine that with a growing middle class there, it just fuels demand beyond basic comfort.
Interesting. Okay, let's up across the Atlantic. Europe, following North America pretty closely, it seems. We see steady growth in places you'd expect, like Germany and the UK, established markets. But here's where it gets really interesting. The report points to the rest of Europe, so the emerging nations there, showing a really strong 4.9% CAGR. What's driving that kind of growth in those maybe less established markets?
Yeah, that 4.9% is significant. It really points to a big leap in technology adoption. A lot of these emerging European countries are essentially leapfrogging older, less efficient HVAC systems. They're going straight for the advanced stuff, highly efficient heat pumps, VRF systems, that kind of thing.
VRF.
Variable refrigerant flow, very efficient for larger buildings. And this is often pushed by, strong EU energy efficiency rules, sometimes good financing options for green tech. Plus, consumers there are getting more savvy about the long-term savings, even if the upfront cost is higher. It's like a modernization wave, but with a strong green focus.
Fascinating. A real shift. Okay, now let's look towards Asia Pacific. The report mentions even more aggressive growth there. China and India are called out as, well, the big players. China's forecast is around $26.91 million by 2033, and India projected near $8.5 million, specifically noting India's very strong 4.1% CAGR. What's propelling India forward so powerfully in this market?
Oh, India's growth story is driven by a few really potent factors. Yes, there's the rapidly expanding middle class, definitely, and a massive increase in construction, both commercial and residential. That's huge. But you also have significant government investment in things like smart city projects, major infrastructure development. These often build in modern climate control right from the start. Plus, as incomes rise, people just expect more personal comfort. What used to be a luxury is becoming, well, more of a necessity for more people.
Right, expectations change. And finally, Africa. The source flags this as a region we absolutely have to watch. Demand is described as surging. Nigeria and South Africa are highlighted, leading the way with KGRs of 6.0% and 6.1% respectively. I mean, that puts them among the fastest growing nations globally in this whole sector. What's the story there?
Yeah, those are standout growth rates. It's really a direct reflection of rapid urbanization happening across many parts of Africa. And of course, the increasing impact of rising global temperatures. It's hitting hard.
Yeah.
So as more people move to cities, you get these construction booms, and the need for effective cooling becomes, frankly, critical, very immediate. And alongside that, you're seeing improvements, albeit sometimes slow, in energy infrastructure in key cities. That makes these technologies more accessible, more reliable. So adoption, both consumer and commercial, picks up pace. It's driven by need, but also growing opportunity.
Okay, so we've looked at the global picture, the regional hotspots.
No?
It really paints a picture of a dynamic market.
Hmm.
So what does this all mean for the industry itself? It feels like it's really transforming, maybe changing its whole identity almost.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing this convergence, this meeting point of really critical global trends. You've got the unavoidable reality of climate change, right? Then there's the whole energy transition towards renewables and sustainability. And underpinning it all, that constant human desire for comfort, for productive indoor environments. These forces are fundamentally changing how heating and cooling systems are, well, designed, made, and used.
And what about specific innovations? What's really changing the game on the ground? How's it impacting people and the planet?
Well, the report highlights a few key technologies that are really pushing things forward. Think about smart thermostats. Not just setting a temperature, but like learning your habits, optimizing energy based on whether you're home, even pulling in weather data. That means real cost savings.
Yeah, I have one of those. They're pretty clever.
Exactly. Then you've got more integration of solar power, systems that work with a building's own energy generation, offering more independence from the grid. And maybe most critically, this big push towards greener refrigerants. That means moving away from the older HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, which were bad for global warming. The move is towards alternatives, HFOs, or even natural refrigerants like CO2 or propane, which have a much, much lower climate impact. The future here really is at that sweet spot. Cutting-edge tech meets serious sustainability.
So in this market that's changing so fast and it sounds pretty competitive, what gives companies the edge? What makes them succeed?
It seems to come down to being nimble, really, and having foresight.
Right.
Look, environmental rules are getting tighter everywhere, and people, consumers, businesses, they're much more aware of energy efficiency now. So the companies that jump on new technologies early, the ones that can really tailor their products to what different regions actually need, they're the ones who are going to win out.
Yeah.
It's not just about selling a box anymore. It's about providing these integrated, efficient solutions that tick the regulatory boxes and meet what people want in terms of comfort and saving money.
It's genuinely incredible when you step back and see the scale, the dynamism of this heating and cooling market. It's really evolved beyond just keeping us warm or cool. It's so deeply tied into our changing world, our energy future, how we build our communities.
It really is. And, this raises an important question, I think, for all of us. As global temperatures keep climbing, as cities keep growing all over the world, how is that going to push innovation even faster in this sector? And maybe what role could you play, whether it's pushing for more efficient solutions in your community or just benefiting from these advances as they become more common in our own homes? Something to think about.
Welcome, deep divers. Great to have you with us again. Today, we're really digging into something that, well, it affects almost everyone every day, the global heating and cooling market. And, based on our sources, this goes way beyond just staying comfortable. We're looking at a critical industry sitting right at the crossroads of urban life, energy sustainability, and even how we deal with climate change. It seems like there's a really fascinating kind of quiet transformation underway. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. And it's incredibly relevant for you, the listener, right now. Think about it: rising global temperatures, more extreme weather. It's making reliable HVAC systems for year-round comfort and, crucially, air quality almost urgent. For homes, for businesses, everyone feels this need and this urgency. It's really turbocharging the move towards next-generation HVAC.
Yeah. It definitely feels like more than just a nice to have these days. So what are the main things pushing this big shift? You mentioned next-gen tech. What kind of surprising changes are we actually seeing? Maybe we could start with, well, one of the biggest forces our sources highlight: rapid urbanization. It's just relentless, isn't it? The sheer scale is mind-boggling. What is it? By 2050, something like over 2/3 of us will live in cities.
Yeah.
And that's not just more buildings going up. It fundamentally changes how developers think about long-term costs, environmental impact. So intelligent HVAC, it's moving from being a luxury add-on to basically a standard requirement in these new smart cities, these modern commercial hubs.
Mm.
Energy efficiency isn't just a bonus, it's like baked into the blueprint now.
Exactly. And that connects directly, almost seamlessly, into the role of government initiatives and regulations. It's fascinating how they work together. We're seeing regions worldwide roll out new building codes that don't just suggest energy-efficient designs, they actually mandate them.
So it's a requirement now.
It's a requirement, and that's a huge accelerator for demand, specifically for these smarter heating and cooling units. And beyond the rules, governments are putting money behind it too. Direct subsidies, tax credits, which can be quite valuable, and mandatory energy labeling.
Ah, the labeling, right. So you know what you're getting.
Precisely. All these things work together to make the greener options, think high-efficiency heat pumps, or those VRF, variable refrigerant flow systems, much more attractive financially. For homeowners, for businesses, it lowers that barrier to entry.
Okay, so we've got this massive urbanization push and governments actively stepping in with regulations and incentives. That sounds like powerful momentum. But usually, where there's momentum, there are also obstacles, right?
Yeah.
What are the challenges and restraints holding things back a bit? Are these advanced systems facing hurdles?
That's a really important point because, yes, despite all the benefits, the hurdles are significant. First off, you've got the high upfront costs. Let's be honest, installing some of these cutting-edge HVAC systems, and sometimes the maintenance too, it can be a major investment.
Especially for smaller players.
Exactly. Small businesses, maybe lower-income households. Making that initial financial jump isn't always easy. Then there's the whole issue of retrofitting limitations. Trying to put these modern, often complex systems into older buildings, it can be a nightmare.
I can imagine, particularly historic buildings.
Oh, definitely. Heritage properties are a prime example. You run into huge technical challenges, structural issues. How do you run new ductwork through a building that's a century old without ruining its character? It often means seamless adoption just isn't possible, leaving many existing buildings stuck with older, less efficient tech. And thirdly, there's the growing awareness and concern about the environmental impact of refrigerants.
Right, the stuff that actually does the cooling.
Exactly. Many older refrigerants still out there have a really high global warming potential, sometimes thousands of times worse than CO2. Now, the industry is moving towards greener alternatives, natural refrigerants, but regulations are tightening and public pressure is mounting. That's definitely shaping design choices and what people are willing to buy. It's forcing a big shift.
Those are some serious roadblocks, cost, existing buildings, the refrigerants themselves. It really makes you wonder then, how is the industry tackling these? Where's the innovation accelerating the sector? Are there clever ways around these problems? Here's where it gets really interesting, I think.
It really does. Innovation is definitely stepping up. We're seeing, for instance, much wider adoption of hybrid systems. These are pretty clever setups. They basically merge your traditional heating and cooling units with renewable sources.
Like solar.
Like solar thermal, yeah, using the sun's heat directly. Or geothermal, tapping into the Earth's constant temperature. Even biomass in some cases. And the really neat thing here isn't just saving on energy bills, which they do, it's how they can actually interact with the power grid. In some areas, these systems can almost act like mini power plants, feeding surplus renewable energy back to the grid.
Wow.
So buildings become active participants in a smarter energy network.
Wow. Okay, so the building itself contributes power.
Potentially, yes. Then, driving the digital side, you have AI and IoT-powered HVAC. These are becoming hugely popular, especially in commercial spaces. Imagine an HVAC system that learns when people are actually in the building, predicts when a part might fail before it breaks down.
Predictive maintenance.
Exactly. And it can adjust temperatures based on the weather forecast or even real-time electricity prices. It's like having a super smart 247 energy manager built right into your building system. Optimization is the key word.
That sounds incredibly efficient.
It can be. And finally, particularly in cities, we're seeing the expansion of district heating and cooling networks.
Okay, what exactly are those?
Think of it like a utility, but for heating and cooling. Instead of every single building having its own boiler or chiller, there's a large central plant that generates hot or chilled water and distributes it through underground pipes to an entire neighborhood, maybe a university campus or a downtown area.
So it's shared infrastructure.
Precisely. You get huge economies of scale. These central plants can often use cleaner energy sources more effectively, like waste heat from industry or large-scale renewables. It drastically cuts the overall environmental load and boosts efficiency across a wide area. It's a real community-level solution.
This has been fascinating. We've gone from individual thermostats to citywide networks and AI. So pulling this all together,
Yeah.
what does this all mean? What's the big picture takeaway for the heating and cooling sector?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it means the industry is fundamentally shifting. It's no longer just about making a room warmer or cooler. It's really positioning itself as a central pillar in the future of sustainable infrastructure, whether it's through AI making buildings incredibly efficient or these district networks enabling greener cities. The sector is aiming to build a smarter, greener, more resilient world. One comfortable, efficient space at a time, you could say.
That's a powerful way to put it. It really changes how you think about that box on the wall or the unit outside.
Yeah.
It's deeply tied into our energy future, the way our cities work. The next time you adjust that temperature, maybe pause and consider that quiet revolution happening behind the scenes. It's impacting everything from your comfort to global energy policy.
And maybe, just to leave you with a thought, this raises an important question. How might these evolving HVAC technologies change the very nature of urban planning and even how we design our homes in the coming decade? Will buildings truly become active players in the energy grid? Will we see whole neighborhoods designed around shared thermal systems from the ground up? It's something to think about.